What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on Get Up, they're going to be talking about, if not a QB, what other position would have the best chance of winning MVP? Could it be possibly Christian McCaffrey win MVP? So let's see what they have to say.
There was a time last year we talked about McCaffrey as an MVP candidate. We talked about Michael Thomas as an MVP candidate. So my poll question this morning on Twitter, at ESPN Greeny, if the MVP is not going to be a quarterback, who you got? And these are the options I put up. McCaffrey, Michael Thomas, Zeke Elliott, Tyreek Hill. Keep casting your vote. We'll reveal what you're thinking a little bit
Hold on, no tight ends, no Kittle, no Kelsey. Jeez.
later, but let me ask my crew here, where do we begin? Let's start with Orlovsky. If the MVP, and you don't have to go with any of the, it doesn't have to be someone from my poll. If I'm telling you right now the MVP is not going to be a quarterback, who are you telling me it's going to be?
It'll be Christian McCaffrey. Greeny, if you remember last year, about midway through the season, I had Christian McCaffrey as number one in the MVP. He was a 1,000-yard rusher and a 1,000-yard receiver. I think he's going to do it again this year, especially with Joe Brady coming over. And if you look at what he did with Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year at LSU, 55 catches. So we're going to see McCaffrey get another 80-plus catches, and he's going to get his fair share of carries. Greeny, I think
Another 80-plus passes? That's a ton. I think he was throwing that 116 times last year. So 80 more? That's a ton right there.
Christian McCaffrey is very similar to what Rob Gronkowski really started to be in the NFL for the Patriots. Teams just have no idea how to play against him. If you put a linebacker out there, whether it's in man or zone, he can wear you out in coverage in space or in a matchup issue. And if you want to put a smaller body out there to cover him, can that guy tackle him? And so I think Christian McCaffrey is just going to be such a focal point for the Carolina Panthers offense as he already has been. He's only getting to be a better player. And I think the Panthers will be a little bit better than people expect them to be as a team. It'll be Christian McCaffrey if it's not a quarterback.
Marcus, who's the MVP?
Yeah, so I'll have to agree with that too. I can see Christian McCaffrey getting MVP this coming up season. So let's take a quick look at his stats for last year. So he ran the rock 287 times. That's fourth overall for running backs. He ran for 1,387 yards. That's third overall for running backs. He had 15 touchdowns. That's third overall for running backs. He was thrown at 116 times, and he caught for 1,005 yards for 4 touchdowns, and he averaged, when he was rushing, 4.8 yards a rush, and that's 10th overall for running back. So needless to say, Christian McCaffrey has been absolutely killing it, and he's gotten better every single year. So this will be his 4th year coming up, if I remember correctly, and he's been absolutely just killing it. So I can definitely see Christian McCaffrey being MVP for next year. And if he's going to get 80 more passes thrown to him, that's going to be a ton more. So his numbers will definitely be inflated. So let's continue.
If it's not a quarterback.
McCaffrey. And, I mean, Dan just said all of it. But I even think about one step outside of that. Teddy Bridgewater's the quarterback. What do we know Teddy Bridgewater for? Making sure he gets the ball into playmakers' hands and not taking too many chances. Obviously, Joe Brady has done that rule. Both of these guys employing their own offense. Christian McCaffrey is arguably the best offensive player in the game of football when it comes to outside of the quarterback position, and obviously Patrick Mahomes. And his usage rate is going to be super high, so he'll have that opportunity. I was teetering on saying Michael Thomas, because last year what he did was unbelievable. But if last year doesn't get him the MVP, he's probably not going to win one.
Let me tell you why.
No, so I don't know if I would say that. But what was it? Deshaun Hopkins? Is it Deshaun? No, DeAndre Hopkins. I could see him. He's going to be in the running for MVP because he's a beast. Michael Thomas, like they said. I'll probably thinking Travis Kelsey for the Kansas City Chiefs, tight end. Kittle, tight end for the San Francisco 49ers. So there's a couple other guys that are up there too I think could possibly win MVP. Maybe Ezekiel Elliott, maybe Saquon Barkley. But as we're talking about Christian McCaffrey, that guy's definitely deserves to be talked about because he's been killing it ever since. Actually, I've liked him ever since Stanford, but he's definitely been killing it with the Carolina Panthers. It's just too bad they haven't been able to do so well. So let's continue.
I disagree with you both, and Christian McCaffrey is running away with my poll before I get Lewis's pick. So Hembo and I went over this. There have been 65 players named MVP in the National Football League historically. None of them played for a losing team. 63 of the 65 made the playoffs the year their team was the year they were named MVP. One of those who didn't was Johnny Unitas. His team went 11-1-2 in 1967, and they missed the playoffs on a tiebreaker. So unless you guys are telling me the Panthers are going to be other than last in the stacked NFC South, I'm telling you there's a very slim chance that no matter how good the numbers look for McCaffrey, that he's going to be the MVP. Lewis, who do you have?
Yeah, see, I don't know about that because, like I said before, if he's going to be getting 80 more passes to him, that would put him at 196. If he had the same stats from last year, because last year he was throwing at 116 times, so you add 80 to that, was at 196. That's going to really inflate his yardage because he caught receiving 1,005 yards, so that's definitely going to inflate those numbers. And if he gets more rushes, more touchdowns, I mean, that he might be able to get MVP regardless of how they do. And Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback too. Last year he definitely held it down for the New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees, because while Drew Brees was injured, Teddy Bridgewater was starting for 5 games and he went 5-0. He was undefeated. So you can't ask for anything more from a backup quarterback. And that's probably why Teddy Bridgewater is where he's at now, the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, which I think he was always a good quarterback to me. It's just his injuries helped derail him a ton, especially when he was playing for Minnesota. But that's for another video. So let's continue.
Yeah, I'm going totally on the other side of the ball. And you know what? And that statistic right there that you brought up as far as being on a winning team and being surrounded by a successful team is important, is really what made me change my mind here from Christian McCaffrey. And I'm going with Aaron Donald from the LA Rams. Look, over the past 3 years, Aaron Donald has 44 sacks and 60 tackles for loss as a defensive tackle. The guy who's led in that time frame as far as sacks is Chandler Jones with 49 sacks. If the Rams can get it back together now and really make some noise in the NFC West, and they've changed both offensive and defensive coordinator, Brandon Staley, their new defensive coordinator, I can tell you this, Sean McVay loves. And we all see Aaron Donald's workout videos. We all are on Instagram. You see what this man is doing. And we talk about him every year like he is unstoppable. And you want to talk about Madden ratings, you just put 100 across the board on Aaron Donald. 100 speed, 100 competitiveness, 100 agility, 100. Okay? So why can't that guy be the MVP?
He could. I actually thought about putting him on the poll yesterday, but I ultimately decided a defensive player is so unlikely. Go ahead, Danny, jump in.
Yeah, it really is, because on offense you have a little bit more control of what's happening and what happens with the game. I know Aaron Donald can get sacks, he can get an interception, he can take things to the house, he can do all types of things. But as a running back, you're definitely going to be putting more points on the board, and you have a little bit more leeway of doing things and having control of the game than you will be on a defensive line. Not that I don't like defensive linemen, because I'm an old defensive lineman, but definitely I'd say a running back or quarterback definitely has more control of the game. So let's continue.
Yeah, I mean, the stat of 65 guys, I mean, we have to pick a non-quarterback. So I can't imagine there was going to be a lot of quarterbacks that were on losing teams that won the MVP. I mean, so if we're picking a non-quarterback, then yes, there's going to be a huge statistic tied to it. Also, I love Aaron Donald. But, Lewis, we know you went to Pitt, and we know Aaron Donald went to Pitt, so there's a little bit of
There's no but. I don't want to hear what else you have to say. I don't care. There's no but. I don't care what you have to say after but. As a matter of fact, you know it's proven that when somebody says but, a lot of the stuff that comes after it doesn't mean anything. So when you said but right there, I tuned you out.
Marcus.
I'm not listening.
Marcus, final thought.
I'm gonna remember that.
Lou made me look bad because he picked the D lineman and I didn't go on the defense side of the ball. But Lou knows Aaron Donald ain't winning no MVP.
I'm telling you.
Marcus. See, that's the kind of disrespect I'm talking about. He plays your position, and then look,